Greetings, ASA members. As we approach the end of the year, it's time for many decisions for districts and schools. First among them, graduation and promotion ceremonies. Are you having them? How are you having them? When are you having them? And then there's summer school. How are you doing that? When are you doing that? And then there's the reopening of schools in when? July? August? This fall? And how will you be training staff for that reopening? And where are the kids going to be academically? Is the summer slide going to be a free fall? Now, Michael Petrilli of the Fordham Institute has a solution for that, one size fits all. He says retain all kids K-8. And there's a link in this message to that article where he argues for such retention. In a recent national survey, 65% of the teachers across the country say they want to start next year at the next grade level, while 61% of the administrators in the same survey said teachers should start at the April 2020 spot where they left off. In other words, when schools closed. Then they surveyed, in that same survey, many advocates, educational advocates, in other words, people who tell administrators and teachers what to do but don't do it themselves. And they had drastically different ideas. And you can see that survey and the responses in a link to the article as well. There are other decisions pending though. When we reopen school, how will we implement distancing, if distancing is required? The schedule ideas for that are varied. Some are suggesting, if class size has to be small because of distancing, a Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday schedule with school off on Friday to accommodate longer days for the teachers. Some are saying a 2-1-2 schedule. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off for a deep cleaning, and then Thursday, Friday. Some are saying AM, PM, with one group of kids coming in the morning and one group of kids coming in the afternoon. Then there's the question of social distancing on buses. If you have a bus with 75 students, there's no social distancing at all. How will that be handled? Simply buy a bunch more buses, and of course we have drivers just begging for jobs. Will students wear masks? And who will supply those masks? And I can just see many students saying, I don't mind wearing a mask. I'm sure it won't affect my makeup at all. And who will make these decisions on requirements for social distancing? Will that be the governor? Will that be the State Board of Education? Will that be the Arizona Department of Health? Will they come from the federal level? Will they leave it to local boards of education? Questions indeed. Another question, will parents send their students back? And if so, to the current district where they had been attending? Now, a New York Times article on April 14th that talked to dozens of kids across the country, what did those kids say? They said, we want to go back to school. We miss our friends. We're tired of virtual education. We want to go back to school. So that gives heart to those of you who have been worried that parents and kids will abandon the schools for virtual education. I was talking to my granddaughter the other day, whose mother is now a stay-at-home attorney / teacher, and my granddaughter said, I don't want the same teacher next year that I'm having this year. To which my daughter replied, I don't want the same student next year that I have this year. In fact, I don't want any students next year. I'm ready to go back to work. So there's hope. The USA Today gives the view from many educators and countries to what the new normal or abnormal may look like. And there's an article that you can read on showing what they're doing in many countries. There's a link to that article. Speaking of decisions, there are big ones ahead for the Arizona State Legislature. Will they return when the stay-at-home order is lifted May 15th? Do we even want them to return? And if they do, what will they do? Now, the Arizona school administrators have joined with some of the other education groups, and we have asked the many legislators that we work with to give school districts an option on funding, to give us the option of staying with current year funding if you're a growing district, or return to prior year funding if you're not a growing district, or if you're concerned that all students will come back. Prior year funding gives you the stability in your budget. You know what your budget will be. So we're pushing for that along with some of the other educational groups. There are many opinions on that. One of the issues, of course, is the CARES funding. We're getting 270 plus million from the Arizona Department of Education to district Title I schools. Will the legislature then say, you're getting that money from the feds, therefore that's going in one pocket, we're going to reach into your other pocket and take away state funding in that same amount? It's called backfill. We may have to fight the battle of the backfill, because the Legislative Budget Committee, JLBC, has already suggested that they do that because they're looking at a 1.1 billion deficit. 4 months ago, there was all the money they needed. They were talking about what to do with extra money. Now they're facing a 1.1 billion deficit. And JLBC has said, well, cut 270 million, the schools are getting that from the feds. So we will have to fight the battle of the backfill. Okay, the last time they cut 1.1 billion, that was in 2008, 2009, the Great Recession. 11 years later, we're still feeling the impact of those cuts, so it doesn't bode well for Arizona schools. The difference is now they have a rainy day fund of almost 1 billion. So it might be time to look at that rainy day fund, because it's raining out there, folks. So we hope the legislature realizes that. Now a few final words. The Arizona school administrators have, unfortunately, we've been forced to cut some of our spring events, the Institute for Excellence in Flagstaff, and our annual summer conference. We knew people wanted to get together and discuss what has happened and what will happen and what will we be doing, but we can't hold an event that brings 300 plus people together. That's less than a month away. We will be trying to substitute that with a couple of half days of some virtual events, so you can stay tuned for those details. And even more importantly, we will be having our virtual annual award ceremony, in which we honor distinguished administrators, principals of the year, and our retirees. You can go to our website where you can still nominate distinguished administrators in several categories, including secondary and elementary principals, ed services members, and superintendents. You know people are doing great work behind those masks, so let's identify them. In the meantime, stay safe, stay healthy, stay focused on the excellent work that you are doing for our students and their families.